This is not what students bring to school. Okay, this is
Don't
what
think so.
professionals.
Oh, Lord, I feel like I need some therapy after the sheer amount of propaganda that I've witnessed pouring out of politicians and cable news over the past 48 hours about these campus protests. So in this video, I want to focus on one show, Morning Joe, because this is President Joe Biden's favorite show, apparently. Much like Donald Trump watched Fox and Friends, Joe Biden every morning watches Morning Joe. And the amount of garbage that is poured out of this show in particular is incredible. I'm going to focus on two clips here just to save ourselves. I'm not going to watch 6 hours of Morning Joe on this channel to save myself and you. But I will focus on two moments to give you an idea of just the level of propaganda they are spewing. So first here, this is Al Sharpton. This morning on Morning Joe, this is how he is framing these campus protests.
Let me say this, the politics of that, what is being robbed by them not doing that, Joe, where you and I agree, how do the Democrats, how do all of us on that side say January 6th was wrong if you can have the same pictures going on college campuses?
Good Lord, don't make a parallel with January 6th.
You lose
For
the
some
moral
reason,
high
that's
ground.
That has happened, though.
Okay,
that has happened.
So we know what's going on here, just the latest from the AP, and then we're going to go live to the scene.
January 6th. Let's be very clear here. January 6th was over a lie. They stormed the Capitol because they wanted to overturn the results of a legitimate election. These campus protests are over the fact that their colleges and the U.S. government generally is invested in Israel as Israel is committing mass atrocities in Gaza. If the election was actually stolen, then protesters would be justified in their anger in trying to take back the results of the real election. The reason why January 6th was bad, to be clear, if this isn't clear already, is because the election was not stolen. It was a legitimate election, and those lunatics on Capitol Hill attempted to overturn a legitimate election. This comparison is so like what? You're against all protests now because January 6th. It's just, I have to laugh because it is so blatantly stupid. Anybody watching this shit and falling for this garbage, like Joe Biden, this is Joe Biden's favorite show. It is incredible. I just want to give credit here to Adam Johnson because he puts this succinctly. The problem with J6 is that they tried to overturn an election based on a lie. If the election were indeed stolen, if, for example, Trump actually did rig 2024 and all other avenues were closed, then protesters would absolutely be justified storming the Capitol. Just so we're clear on why January 6th was bad. Why does this have to be explained? I don't know. But apparently it does to Al Sharpton. Now, let's get to this has dominated. Dominated a lot of the news over the past, 48 hours now. New York City Mayor Eric Adams. There were outside agitators, part of the campus protests. So he's talking specifically of Columbia. Going on to say here, so this is during an appearance on CBS Mornings. He said, quote, once I became aware of the outside agitators who were part of this operation, as Columbia mentioned in their letter and the request with the New York City Police Department, it was clear we had to take appropriate actions when our intelligence division identified those who were professionals, well-trained. So Eric Adams claiming, no, these weren't students, outside agitators coming in. And by the way, he goes on to claim that there was connections to terrorism, which I'll get to later, because first I want to address this incredible moment. Incredible. So this is Deputy Commissioner Tariq Shepard shows the chains used to secure Hamilton Hall at Columbia University. Check this out.
Tell us about this chain.
Yeah, so when we entered Hamilton Hall, this is not what students bring to school. Okay, this is
Don't
what
think so.
professionals bring to campuses and universities. These are heavy industrial chains that were locked with bike locks, and this is what we encountered on every door inside of Hamilton Hall.
Oh my God, the chains! We know these weren't students because students don't bring these chains. It's not like they were promoted at Columbia Public Safety to use them for their bikes. This exact lock was promoted with a discount to students by Columbia Public Safety. How can you say students at this exact university don't bring it to school? This is from Handsome Be Wonderful. Eric Hart here. This exact, look, kryptonite. It's the exact same. It's the same lock, the same chain. It's the exact same thing. Here it is on the site. They have various versions of this. It's just this is just the most obvious lie. This is Fox News level. This is like one Google search takes 2 seconds to find out how obvious this lie was. And they continued. They continued this bullshit.
Of the city of New York will never be locked out, and we will always work together to keep our city safe.
There he is sitting beside Eric Adams, New York City mayor, dropping the chains in a dust to make a point, to try and be all dramatic. Again, look at this. This deputy is confronted with the facts. And watch this.
LOL.
Look at this.
This is the same chain.
Look at this. This is an industrial.
Is this the same thing?
This is not.
Why was this brought here?
Where's the deputy commissioner?
Why was this like
Because
brought
these.
Look how he's covering at every point he's holding this. He is covering the kryptonite logo on the lock because it is the exact same lock and chain from the photos.
Why was this like
Because
brought
these are the locks that we cut off for the doors in Hamilton.
Were
That's
any
why.
outside agitators arrested at Columbia's Hamilton Hall?
I think Commissioner Weiner addressed that already.
No, they.
Wanted to address. Is that next? We'll get to that. I forget how I structured this. So yeah, here it is. As Matt Binder writes, Eric Adams asked live on MSNBC about how many non-students were arrested at Columbia. Adams gets flustered, then says it was two individuals, and then he refuses to name them. But watch this.
By all of this, but we've heard from your team that there are these nameless leaders who were involved. Can you tell us who they were, or at least how many of them there are?
Well, first, I always suspected that something was happening, and I'm happy that the confirmation of my suspicion turned out to be accurate when our intelligence division briefed me on two particular individuals. One of them, husband, was arrested for terrorism. As well, some of the paraphernalia and pamphlets that we saw, individuals we saw who were not CUNY students, were there training individuals. We saw the escalation of the tactics that were being used. And so it has been reported on some of the individuals that just stated. I choose not to give notoriety to people who participate in activities like that, but it has been online. The police department has reported, and I'm sure if you reach out to the intelligence division, they'll give you, based on the information we want to release. And this is extremely active, continue to evolve, and we want to continue to do the thorough investigations that we have been doing.
This is a high schooler bullshitting his way through an essay question on a test. Did not name any. Mentions, the only thing he does, he refuses to name them, but then references a person that the NYPD already confirmed wasn't arrested and wasn't even there. So this interview was in the afternoon. You see 5:53 here. This is from the morning. That morning, 10:30. NYPD Deputy Commissioner Rebecca Weiner now says the unidentified wife of a man convicted of terrorism wasn't actually part of last night's protests. And by the way, we'll get to her because it's just incredible. She says the woman was on the Columbia campus last week and that we have no evidence of any criminal wrongdoing on her part. She has nothing to do with this. This is who it is. She's a retired teacher. Saw inspiration in Columbia's protests. Eric Adams called her an outside agitator. So this is from the AP. This piece here. Here she is. This nice old lady. This is one of the outside agitators. One of the two. Other one, who knows, that hasn't named. But we're still investigating. We'll show you. We'll have your. There's lots of them. So many of them. But I can't name any of them. But we're still investigating. And by the way, her husband, this guy here, a jury declined to convict him of any charges. And many are viewing this as an example of excessive government overreach. Yes, but look, his name is Sami Al-Iran. Oh, scary. He must be guilty. He did something. I don't know what, but I can feel it. He did something wrong. He's clearly a criminal. And by association, the retired teacher wife, also criminal for some reason. I don't know why. I am, as you can see, I've lost my goddamn mind. It is just so insane to me how blatant all of this bullshit is. And this is the shit that gets repeated on TV over and over again on President Joe Biden's favorite cable news show. And this is the perspective he has. This is a great message here from College Democrats of America. This is a group associated with the DNC. And here they are coming out and saying College Democrats voters are not to be taken for granted by the Democratic Party. We reserve the right to criticize our party when it fails to listen to us. It is really good. It's a fantastic sign to see an organization that is associated with the Democratic Party come out and be willing to say this. You also have things like that. Again, a lot of this stuff being ignored. I've covered in previous videos how the faculty has stood with the students. All of this is largely being ignored. You have the UAW here also standing with the mass protests. Sean Fain saying we will never support the mass arrest or intimidation of those exercising their right to protest, strike, or speak out against injustice. Our union has been calling for a ceasefire for 6 months. This war is wrong, and its response against students and academic workers, many of them UAW members, is wrong. And Max Kennerly here writing, anyone who draws a comparison between Jan 6 and Columbia reveals that they don't understand or don't care about the significance of January 6. Trump's mob stormed Congress to thwart the people's vote in the 2020 election. That's not a protest. It's a threat to democracy itself. And I want to leave you on this. I'm not going to play this for you because it's 8 minutes long. But if you need a video to try and explain to someone in your life who is completely just has been taken by the propaganda here, Chris Hayes, to his credit, the one clear voice on cable news that I've seen properly discussing and contextualizing these protests. He discusses the history of protest on campus, including Samuel L. Jackson, who was a part of one, and puts it in the context of today, and also ends on what is actually important here, and what's being largely ignored by a lot of the press, and that is the ongoing assault of civilians by the Israeli government with the support of the U.S.